DSU.edu live. Much like we told you last May, we have followed the vision of President Griffiths. She helped us determine goals and how to move forward with this. We recently, you all know this is our current site. It's been a thorn for some people in the past couple of years, but it has been our site since 2013, 14, somewhere around there. It was time to give us a new site and a new direction. And by the way, we did just update the colors, so we had a lot of people reach out to us thinking this was the new site. It is not. It is just the colors so that it matched our campaigns that we have going on. So in the summer of 2018, which is right when I started, actually it was David Overby that sat me down and indicated we'd be doing a web project. I was kind of excited about that. The RFP process was already underway, and then there was a committee that was set up. And we entered into contract with a Chicago firm called M. Stoner. This company has collaborated with over 300 colleges and universities, and they've done more than 200 websites since 2001. They do a lot of other things, but one of their areas of expertise is in the website realm. We have a dedicated M. Stoner team, which we've worked diligently with ever since last summer. And then we have our team, and we have a web committee consisting of 14 members. Some of you are here, so I'm just going to say the names because it was a lot of time and dedication. Angie Kappenman, she's up in the back there. Joelle, Judy Dittman, Dick Hansen, Mark Millage, David Overby, Deb Roach, who gets our award for attending all the meetings. That was pretty good. Brent Van Artsen, Siraj. Jacob Williams was the student at the time, so he helped us. Amy Krissinger, Shannon Stefke, and then Kathleen McClatchy. We also enlisted the help of Chris Olson. He was a blessing to us when he came forward to help us with accessibility and compliance with our new site. It's a goal of ours to be the very best that we can be. We are looking at some software and vendors that we can partner with to help us even be better with that, but Chris has spent countless hours helping us make sure that our new site will meet requirements and beyond. And then I can't forget our marketing and communications team. There really isn't any person on our team that hasn't been involved in this project in one way or another. And so there's been a lot of time and dedication given to this. So I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for their countless hours that they've put into the website. So what has our team done? What have we been doing? We've met regularly, weekly pretty much since then, daily in our department. Our committee worked with M. Stoner early on in a discovery phase where we met with and had several focus groups. Some of you may have participated, but we had students, faculty, staff, alumni, friends, and pretty much any other stakeholder group you can imagine that we met with focus groups. And that helped us determine a strategy that helps us with the user experience, what the design should look like, what the content should be, and then the technology we should be using. Once we made it through those stages, we presented things back to Cabinet and made sure that we were following on the right path, and we moved into design templates where we had comprehensive, intuitive, and flexible designs. We had a few for the cabinet members to look at and the committee members to look at, and then we kind of selected a combination of them and came forward with a design that you'll see shortly. Following that, once the design was done, then we actually moved into developing the pages, which that's way above my head, but I'll just tell you that I relied on Joelle and the ITS team a lot in this area, but it was the CMS selection, search vendors, calendar and news functions, what that should look like, front-end development, and then pretty much everything else that goes along with that. So that took us a long time. And at the same time, we began updating or reviewing content and updating what was existing back in March. Our team met with DSU leaders and select staff and faculty to ensure that the content that you'll be seeing is as accurate as we could be, and we made any adjustments that needed to be done. Hundreds of hours were put into content, as you can imagine. I believe there was about 500 pages of current content, and moving that over, migrating that over, and making sure it's accurate was an extensive process for us. Then in August, we started to review the site. We brought it first to, obviously, the committee, but President's Cabinet, we brought it to Academic Council. Directors and above all had a chance to review and address content and concerns, and we made many changes after that and updates. But I will just say that, this is something that will happen on a daily basis for us. Our website isn't going to be a one and done thing. This is something that will continuously change and be updated as we go. It's a living, breathing website, so to speak. So it's a continuous process. And then that really just brings us to today. We're preparing to launch the site. M. Stoner is ready for us to do that. We're tentatively looking at the first week of December. That will depend on how the next few weeks go and all the things we get accomplished. But we're really excited to be able to give faculty, staff, and students a sneak peek today. There will be an additional opportunity for faculty. They'll get an email from me later on today or tomorrow morning for them to have some additional time to look at it as well. So you'll be able to do that. So right now, I will turn it over to Joelle.
Can everybody hear me? Great. So we're not doing any slideshows today. We're actually doing a live presentation of our staging site. I just kind of I see we have some students in the audience. Do we have any web developers or graphic designers or, no? Couple? Good, good. So you guys kind of know the process that we have to go through in order to make something this huge happen. And that's not just the front-end development or the user experience, it's the design and everything that Kelly kind of put together with the back-end technology. So you guys know that it takes a village to make something like this happen. Before we do a reveal, some of the faculty and staff have already been initiated into the look and feel of the new website, but I just want to review some of the goals. So we did go through a huge process, and part of that process was defining our main goals, which was making sure that we have brand consistency using tone, imagery, and storytelling, that we have ease of use and quick findability. These are all things that kind of came from those focus groups, right? Increased website conversions. That's part of our engagement with admissions and getting new students on board. And the focus on accessibility, that was very important, and we're going to continue to work on that. Mainly, we want to make sure that moving forward, that we can create a governance, a sustainable governance that includes a long-term content strategy, standards and policies, as well as consistent review and revision cycle. I know those are really important, just so that we can make sure that we can build that culture of ownership. So today, we're going to reveal the new website. And as I go through, I want to make sure that you know that I'm not going to go through every single page. I'm not going to go through every single function, but you will see that it's staging.dsu.edu. And you can go ahead and go to the website and peruse around, if you will. Some of you have probably already found it. But I'm just going to let you know that this is going to be very high level, and then at the end, we'll have some time for some questions, some Q&As. So that's okay. If everybody's ready, there's no drum roll. But of course, this is our current state. And we've had this for a while, as Kelly said. Now we're moving on to the new world. So I'm going to do a quick refresh just to make sure that you guys can see most of the elements that are happening here. So this is our new homepage, and we're super excited to be able to have movement and functionality that is very today and not, 2013. Nice. Yep. Yep. And you can see just on the main homepage we have a video that kind of gives that depth and breadth of what the university is all about. When it comes to accessibility, as I roll over the items, you'll see that we have alt tags for the imagery. We also have a way to pause the video, start the video again. Those are all part of that accessibility pieces. So what I'm going to do, as we see here, we're just going to quickly take a look at the left navigation. And this is very focused towards trying to get students admitted into recruitment and getting students admitted into DSU. So we have some real high-level call to actions, so requesting more information. How do I visit DSU? How do I apply? And of course, I think everybody's familiar with when you have that logo, it goes back to the home page. So these will be on every single landing page as we move forward, as well as a sub-navigation that drives into some of our main categories. But before I go into any of that, let's scroll down the page and see some of the other features. So that might have gone very quickly, but the text and some of the hexagon elements kind of come into play very gradually. So we have some movement on each one of these sections. But what we want to do is focus on a couple things on the landing page. What are our stats? What do people want to know about us? And the ability to put those stats right in front of everybody so that they know. We have student stories, and as you can see as we roll over these, they're a lot more dynamic than what we had previously on our homepage. And our writing staff has been doing a really good job focusing on capturing these great stories of students and faculty and alumni. So I'll just click on one so that you can kind of see what that looks like. So this kind of gives you that idea of imagery is really important on our new site and how our end users and our visitors can interact with the content, as well as drive them into the programs of interest that they may have based off of the information that they're reading. So I'm not going to click into the program information, but if you see at the bottom of the stories, we can click into those real quick. And of course, functionality, being able to scroll into each one of those student stories, I think is really great. We also have the ability to add video stories here. We don't have any currently that we have posted, but we will be adding those as we go. As Kelly said, this is a living, breathing document, website, if you will. And one of the main things on the website that we want to focus on too is making sure that we have an organizational programmatic search functionality. And here we've done it a couple different ways. We can find programs, DSU programs by college. So we can click on a different college and we can explore that college page and find that information that we're looking for. So each one of the 4 colleges has its own landing page, as well as we can drill into the types of programs that we're looking for by interest, whether it's teaching, technology, business, etc. So if we take a look at technology, you can see here we can drill into all the technology programs that we have available. So some really quick access points for that. We also can take a look at viewing all majors and degrees, and I'll get to that functionality in just a little bit after we finish with the homepage. Another important element is making sure that students understand how much fun DSU is. NanaCon is on Friday. We've got a lot of great things that we do, clubs and organizations, and we want to make sure that we could highlight those pieces right on the homepage and drilling into that student life section in the website, which we'll get to later. But as you can see, a lot of movement, a lot of things you can do on the landing page, on the homepage. That really kind of draws you in. And if you saw the hexagon, it did rise up. It's very subtle, but we just want to make sure that we're emphasizing that DSU is rising, and that just kind of emphasizes what we're all about here at DSU. So I'm going to go back into some of the functionality that we have. This is new to DSU, a overarching Explore Programs landing page where we can find programs in a lot of different ways. We can do that by searching. We can do that by filtering. So let's do a quick search on just cyber intelligence, cyber operations, and as you can see, as you kind of continue to type in, it continues to narrow down your choices. So that's one way. Sorry, I hit back twice. The other way is if you're interested in just like a bachelor's degree, it will filter on bachelor's, and then you can also filter on by interest. Other ways you can filter are also by the programs that we have with some of our partners that we have. So either available at the community college, or if you wanted to just find all of the available programs that are online. So this will hopefully make it that easeability and that ease of use from visitors that are coming to the site to find our programs and get more information about them. So let's take a look at that cyber leadership landing page. So each one of our program templates are very similar when it comes to our undergraduate degrees, where you'll see that we have a great header graphic. We've got that lead-in text. We're always able to, on the right-hand nav, be able to view courses, and this goes directly to the catalog. Scheduling a visit, those calls to action that are really important for us for recruitment purposes. A couple things that we did within the stylistic approach of the site is bringing in different types of elements. So this is a quote element that we've brought in. We also have some opportunities to have text with links or text with items on the side that make you understand that there's what are the opportunities for cyber leadership moving forward from a professional career perspective. And then of course we have learning outcomes, where you can find your plans of study very quickly. And then at the end, any sort of related program. So if you're going for cyber leadership, what else might be of interest to you? So we're hoping that as our visitors come to the site, the ease of use and trying to figure out where they navigate is just that much easier. And I'd like to touch on a master's degree too. The master's degrees and the graduate degrees are somewhat different. They do have the courses within the course catalog, but it also includes the timelines and requirements of that degree, and then those calls to action as well. And the timelines and requirements kind of comes up as admissions requirements, what's needed, and all that detail that a prospective visitor would want to make that decision. Also learning outcomes. So you can see there's a cadence to these templates and how we're using them. And as we move forward, we'll continue to build out new templates and have the ability to add more and more functionality as we go. All right. So we haven't explored the footer, so I want to make sure. So the footer is standard on every single page. What we're going to focus on today are a couple things. First, the calendar of events, because as we heard from the focus groups, that was a contentive item. And so we worked with Stoner to select a vendor to bring in all of our events into one calendar. So you'll see that there are a lot of athletic events. That information is getting pulled directly from DSU.edu, so that we're not double entering. And so we want to make sure we create that enter once, publish everywhere type of concept. And so when people come to the site, they're able to get all of the information they need right here. So I showed you the filter. Obviously, we can go to different months. And let's click on. Is it submitting from where? Is it pulling from the R25 calendar system? No. Nope, we're still submitting, yep. Although we are in talks with ITS as far as how we can have maybe one collective source of events. So right now, the calendar does have the ability to, let's just say, in this instance, athletics has its own calendar. We can bring that into the system. So if we had multiple calendars happening, we can bring those into the system as well. Or we can start to figure out what that solution is to create one point of entry for all events and then how that gets distributed. That answer your question? Great. All right, so. Yes, no, great idea. Let me open up the Clear Cyber Conference here. Yeah, so Carrie was asking if we could have an event in multiple categories, and the answer is yes. So as you can see, the Clear Cyber Leaders Conference is under multiple categories. So we have it under colleges, conferences and symposia, professional development and research. And I'll show you the research landing page so you can see that each one of those categories you can take that content and put it on your landing page. So if we had alumni-specific content, we can then take alumni-specific events and put that on your landing pages as well. So let me show you what that looks like. So here's what the event landing page looks like. Let's take a look at research, because that does have a great example of how that is working in action. So down at the very end of the research landing page, you'll see that all we're doing here is just cultivating just the research events that we have. So we can do the same thing. All right, so the other thing we want to go through, there was a lot of questions about the directory. So if we go back down to the footer, the departments and directory landing page. When you get to this landing page, everyone is going to show up from a staff perspective, department's perspective, but you can quickly search within that. And I'll pick on Jim because he's in the audience today. So here's Jim's profile that you can get to very quickly if you click on it. Jim actually has, each profile has its own landing page, which we can actually build out even further. This is just kind of that first step. He's got a great biography, and also we have the ability to link to not just social sites, but email and websites that might be used. And I know that College of Education uses some Twitter accounts and things like that, and those can be added on your profile to make easy access for people to get access to those. So of course, not just people, but also departments. Yeah.
How do people add a little information to that?
Sure.
Like that little biography I have. How do people add that, or their degrees and those sorts of things?
You bet. So we have a form. It's basically a request for web content, either changes or additions. Kelly's email is going to have that link in there for any changes that we need to do before launch as well. But the same form that we collect that information is what we use to edit information on any of the pages. So same form to make any sort of changes, whether it's on your directory landing page or whether it's on maybe it's your the research landing page. So just one place to go to enter the information. Yeah.
But for faculty, will we have them not to make an addition, but will they all fill it out so that their credentials are listed from day one?
Yeah, so I think that right now we're working on what those standards look like. So we have done that with cabinet and the academics committee. So we have done some standardization around what the bio should look and feel, and word count and all that kind of stuff. So for the rest of staff and faculty and whoever else is within the directory, we'll have standards kind of surrounding that so that you can create what you need. All right. So before I get to something that has been very contentious, which has been the search. So the search on our existing site is really difficult to navigate and manage from both sides, not just from a visitor side, but from the back end side. So what we did in working with Stoner is we selected a vendor that helped us kind of narrow down the best solution that we could possibly have for our search. The caveat to this right now is because we're on a staging site, this is not connected to our new website. So this won't work until we go live. So I'm going to show you some examples, but they're going to go to the old site. And so once we hit December 3rd, you'll see that it will start to resolve to the new website. And that will take a little bit of time after we go live. But just wanted to give you some heads up on that, just so that you're not surprised. But you can see here, whatever popular searches that you might have been looking for will be right there at your fingertips, as well as searching for different things. I'm going to keep this pretty high level. So in searching for like apply now, or how to apply, applying to DSU, any sort of those types of verbiage, you can see that this search is so much different in the fact that we can narrow it to different types of things. We can narrow it to, show me everything, or just like Google does, show me images, and in this instance, show me what's all on the website when it comes to the words apply now. We also have people, we also have news, and we also have FAQs. FAQs is its own database that we're pulling from because we had a number of FAQs for the student life section, as well as admissions. And instead of kind of bogging down those landing pages with FAQs, we've decided to add that to our search criteria, and so that we can continue to build on those. And I'll show you an example of that. So I'm not going to click on apply now because it's going to go to our existing site, but this will at least give you an idea of what the results page is going to look like when you start searching, with the ability to refine your results on the left navigation. So there's lots of things you can do. There's sort by relevance, also limit or view more results if you want. So let's take a look. Let's look for move in. So this is something that we get a lot of questions about. So using the FAQs in order to show that information is going to make it just that much easier for a student who has applied, is coming to DSU. What are some of the questions that I have before I come? It's going to make it very simple for them. Whatever questions they have, they can type in, and it will get them right to that question and answer. So we're really super excited about this. We can search for people. When we go live, we'll be able to search for programs as well. So a very dynamic search with a very dynamic backend that we can manage and weight the information that shows up on the search results. All right, just making sure I'm checking time. All right, so we've kind of gone through some high-level functionality pieces that we have on the website. We've taken a look at some of the dynamic functionality that we have. Kelly wanted me to make sure that we touch on some of these high-level navigation points that we have. So going to the About Us section, taking a look at, so this template is used for all the high-level pages. And you'll notice that in this section, this is the main navigation for this landing page. And the input that we got was, it started off looking like this, and the input that we got was that I don't understand where the navigation is to go somewhere else. So our change that we did was to make sure that this menu is always open right at the get-go, so people knew what type of information was kind of underneath these sections. And then as you scroll up, it'll close. So, and as you scroll down, you'll see that things come into play a little bit slowly, just to provide that movement. So making sure that the About Us section is very agnostic and really telling the story about DSU from a high level, what our rankings are, talking about research, talking about our accreditations, showing some stats, and then taking a look at some of the fun pieces that we can do from a back and forth motion and getting people involved in that movement. And then you'll see here's some events coming up, and then news. And so the difference between research and this landing page is we're pulling up all of the news that DSU has, like in total, so we can go to the More News page and take a look at that. Academics, again, academics is using the same sort of template. You'll see the knockout of all of the navigation underneath, the roll-up of that, the information underneath. You'll see that there's different types of components on different pages. But one of the important things to note here is really an overarching look at academics as a whole. So making sure that people can get to the graduate and undergraduate catalogs, they can take a look at graduate studies, just a lot of things to do a deep dive into academics. We kind of looked at research a little bit. So admissions, we did a lot of rework from information architecture standpoint to make sure that we are very focused on the type of audience that is coming into the site. So really breaking down the type of degree or certificate or program that the visitor is wanting to look into getting admitted to. But just understand that just because they're separate doesn't mean that they're disparate in their content. So each one of these sections, undergrad, online, graduate, et cetera, they all have the same sort of language. So cost and aid is the same, how to apply is the same, just so that we have that consistent tone and that consistent voice across the board. And then we have the student life section, looking at clubs and organizations, dining, campus security, et cetera. Some copy to deep dive into that. And let's just take a look at clubs and organizations. So from an internal landing page template, we have a lot of different things we can do as far as accordions, video, inset copy, quotes. So we have a lot of flexibility with what we can do with each one of these templates. Now I haven't touched on video, but we do have the capability in not all but most of the components to add a video and not just have a static image. We have put a lot of movement and interactivity for the user to kind of take a look at the content, but we also have the ability to show video as well. This is a video thanks to Cody Welu. So that kind of gives you an example of how we can start to bring that movement and excitement that, and really use our friends, partners, and stakeholders to be able to help us with the content on the website. So it's coming from all different places, and it's a great aggregate of what DSU is doing. Here's a look at a quote. Making sure that we're talking about our Trojans Unite campaign. the Trojan Athletic Club, and then some stats as far as athletics is concerned. So this isn't taking the place of DSU.athletics.com at all. This is just kind of that touch point for users that come to DSU.edu, so they kind of get an overview, and of course we'll get them to the athletic website right in the left-hand nav. So we have athletic programs. So we just kind of go through each one very simply, high-level overview. The athletic club, how to get involved. Of course, learn more about TAC is going back over to the athletics website. Did our programs. Personnel is also important. Who's involved with our athletic programs. And then here's another example of how we can go right to the athletic events. And of course, this is a feed coming from DSUathletics.com. So now we can have them on both sites, and that's pretty awesome. And then, of course, the Trojans Unite campaign, which is super important for us moving forward and trying to gather donors, friends, people who are excited about building out that new campus, athletics campus. So just this kind of goes through some of the visuals and the phases of that, and then how to get a hold of people in order to donate. And as you can see here, we have ways to give, and then DSU Athletics. All right, so I want to make sure that I save some time for any sort of questions, but just want to talk about after launch. Kelly talked about when launch was going to be, but we do need to talk a little bit about what happens after launch. And we just want you to know that with the staff that we have in marketing and the staff that we have in ITS, we're going to be able to manage and monitor the website content, its engagement, and its key performance indicators, if you guys are familiar with KPIs. And then next steps too is making sure that we have that governance in place so that people can know, what's involved with your directory listing, what are the standards, what's the word count for your biography, should I put my Facebook page link in or should I not? So in building a social media policy and building social media guidelines, if you have a social media account that you're using for Dakota State, what some of those standards and guides are for so that we can move forward with that a little bit more consistently. And then now that the site is coming to its completion, we just want you guys all to know that as we move forward, we want to work with all of our stakeholders within DSU. So if you have some things that you want to change, you want to update, there's some things that you want to do to help promote, or if you need content, we're here to partner with you on any of those things. The content management system that we picked out is very dynamic, and so we're really looking to leverage this to continue to build on not just the DSU.edu website, but other websites that may come into play. So that could be the athletics website might be put on this platform. There might be other websites that would go on this platform as we move forward too. All right, well, thank you. Oh yeah, of course. I should have thought about it. So device agnostic, of course, every site should be. So if you have some time, go to staging.dsu.edu and take a look at it on your phone, on your tablet, in different ways. We can make this a little bit smaller so you can kind of see that it moves itself. And as you scroll, you can see how it changes. So this is kind of how you would see it on your phone. If it was a little bit bigger, it would look a little bit differently on your tablet. But yeah, totally device agnostic. And yeah, we're looking forward to building onto this in the future. Anything else that I missed?
We thank you for your time today. Does anybody have any additional questions? Yes.
For yesterday in our, we had a research brown bag at the library, and we had a student who asked about research pages, and because a lot of academic websites show what faculty are doing research-wise and who are encouraging students to apply and what their research areas are and such things. I know that we have that biography area, but do we have like a research profile for faculty?
I need you to repeat the question for me.
Just wondering about undergraduate research and how it will appear on the site.
Oh, sure. Well, I think that's something that we need to explore. I don't want to kind of push that off and not answer the question directly, but I think we need to explore what that looks like. Is that something that we need to look at putting content on a LinkedIn page, or is that something that we need to put on our profile page? Is it something that we need to put on our undergraduate research section?
I'm talking about research in general, like not talking about undergraduate research. I'm talking about like faculty research pages. They explain like what a faculty research is, what their past conferences are. So because a lot of academic institutions have a research page, or every different faculty member has a research page that explains what they're publishing, the rankings that they're published, their you know, their stuff.
So I think that what you're referencing as well as this is in their directory pages and what they want listed. There are some that have, 50 pages to list, and we're going to encourage them to have LinkedIn pages that we can reference if they are agreeable to that. Some standards will be coming out for that. But yeah, so that'll be there. But we also want to make sure we tie it back to all of our other research components too. So yeah.
It's still kind of on that same question. So, for example, as a graduate student thinking of coming to DSU, I want to know what exactly professors are researching. Do they have spaces in their lab for me to join their research and that kind of thing? And I feel like it might be a bit counterintuitive for me to move out of the website onto a LinkedIn page, then come back, go to another professor. So if we have everything in one space where we can look at various things and think if DSU is a good fit for me or not, it would be pretty great.
We are definitely open to suggestions on how that might look or be formatted, but right now it is located on the directory pages of what we have. And we also rely on faculty to give us that information too. So, yeah.
That's where I was going to go with that, Kelly. This question is always a thorny one because it points toward not just multiple content generators in the form of faculty who generate and shape the content the way they want it on their directory pages, but also linkages to other parts of the research machinery, like the research page or like Beetle Scholar. And there's a big part of that linkage work that goes beyond the content creation that I think is pretty clearly a post-launch project.
Yes, absolutely.
But we're excited to work with your team on, how research and economic development can help faculty shape that and can be one of the voices on campus encouraging faculty to attend to that content carefully. In much the same way that Ryan's, constantly encouraging them to attend to their content that's on Beetle Scholar carefully. And so some of those linkages I think will happen along the way, but it's not an overnight project, I think.
No.
Keep going on it.
No, we also get concerned about faculty that, of course, we have faculty that's here at DSU, but they certainly can be moving from university to university. So managing and maintaining that on our own site when really the onus really is on the faculty member to keep that updated and how we can do that in a way that makes sense. So totally agree. We need to find a solution so that you have access to that information, and yeah, we're happy to have those conversations and figure out where that goes. Vaughn?
Of course, it's always me. One facet of this research page that I think would be immensely helpful that I've seen a lot of other institutions do is the idea of having, if people are recruiting graduate students, allowing that to be lively updated so that they're saying, you know, for this 2021, the 2020-2021 year, we are seeking X and so many graduate students, or these faculty members have openings in their studios or in their research areas, and I think having that updated would be like every semester would be great, because then we would have that dynamic thing for graduate students, because we're trying to increase research, increase these things. And that's really how we do it, is like, you know, maintaining that and putting the onus on faculty to say, like, you have to do this, like this is part of your thing now. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're lucky to have.
agree.
Yeah, we're lucky to have selected a content management system that does allow for workflows. It does allow for ownership of your own content, and we can set a certain content revision dates where an owner, Vaughn, maybe the diversity landing page is owned by you, and you'll get an email that says it's time for you to review the information on your landing page, and the expectation is that people will have ownership of those and update the information, because yes, it needs to be up to date. Any type of information needs to be up to date on a website.
Other questions? Does anyone online have any questions?
I don't know. Jen, you want to give them
Thanks. Is there a low bandwidth version for those folks who are not on a broadband connection?
Is there a low bandwidth version? Everything that was created on the website is website ready. So I mean that it's as compatible with standards as we possibly can. As far as a low website version, we don't have that to my knowledge, but it should be compatible with a low bandwidth. It's a good question.
Any other ones on this? All right.
Okay, with that, we will end our session today. Thanks again for coming. We appreciate you all.
Yes, thank you.